real. Let's talk about how you really feel. We're dropping all the hot topics. We're popping and there's no stopping it. Let's talk about it. We got you covered. Sophisticated, innovative like no other. Giving you the latest news on a daily. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Now is the hour, so tune in. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. It's the movement. Get into it. Tell all your friends. Let's talk about it.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Be Real. One of our common pitfalls is that so destructive today in life is thinking that the grass is greener on the other side or somewhere else. Woo child, I said it. I'm sure you ladies have heard the phrase, the grass is not greener on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's get into it. What do you think about that perspective?
Ooh, that's a deep subject right there. You just hit us all out right here on the front. Is the grass greener on the other side? Absolutely. It's not a yes-no question because, yeah, somebody else's grass can be greener. But to me, it falls back to why is their grass greener? What did they put into it? What are they putting into their life? What did they have to do to get that green grass? Like this week, the topic come up, and and it's fitting that we're doing this today. I said to somebody, oh, one day I wish I could have a house just like yours. You know, before, you know, because we're not supposed to covet other people's stuff. But, you know, anyway, she said, I work 2 jobs. Mm-hmm. My husband is never home because he's always trying to get hours at work. She said, we are living paycheck to paycheck, credit card debt up to our eyeballs. Wow. But to me, her grass looked greener.
Yes.
And her grass is where she's sitting from. My grass looks greener because I get to stay home and do a lot of the things. My kids in a lot of activities. So I think it's all in perspective, and it falls back to biblical principles for me. You reap what you sow.
Yeah.
So if you're sowing, and we all know like gardens, and you plant, you dig, you till, you water, the sun comes in, you have bugs, you have to get the bugs out, all that kind of stuff. But it's not quick. Reaping is never quick. And if you reaped bad things, then you're going to have bad things come back into your life, because that's just what the Bible tells us. If you're reaping good things, then good things are going to come back to you. But it's all in God's timing when those are going to come back. And what do we do while we're waiting? We just serve Him and try to focus on what He's going to give us.
I agree, but oftentimes in that situation, when it talks about the grass is not always green on the other side, when we hear that statement is always made when, you know, a lot of us, we make the statement when usually you going over into somebody else's life wanting what they have.
I agree. I do agree
so
with that.
You on the outside looking in thinking, oh, that right there, what I want. And then when you cross over to that green grass, you realize, can I be as consistent as he or she was?
Right.
Not just saying a female. I'm a female looking in to what he's doing for her. But on the other hand, you have men that look into what that woman is bringing to the table with the man. So, you know what I'm saying? You don't know what it took.
No, you don't.
For them
to get
that grass that green. And sometimes we rush the process of our own green grass by going over here trying to, you know, gain access to stuff that is, you know what I'm saying, really take time and patience and consistency. Do we have that time, patience, and consistency to get what it took for them to have their grass greener? Can we be patient enough and allow God to bless us with somebody that will make us, you know what I'm saying, be able to water our grass and make it as greener? We don't know. No. So, you know, it's not always good to be on the outside looking in, because you don't know they struggle. You don't know the time they put in. You don't know how consistent they would. The sweat, the tears, and nothing they had to deal with. So when you trying to cross over and you realize it ain't all green.
No, just
you
like
see
my
brown
friend.
patches. You see spots where it's dead. Will you be there? Cause everything change in season. You see what I'm saying? So you thinking the grass gonna remain green? No, baby,
No.
grass still gotta die.
Exactly.
Are you willing to wait and tilt this grass again with me?
Right.
Like this person is. So you know, it's not always greener on the other side. Now, if I'm single and he's single, if she's single and he's single, and we meeting to make our grass green on the other side, then that's a whole nother ball game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at stuff. But no, you can't go into somebody else's house thinking, you know what I'm saying, this yard, you know, it's green, I want this, and think it's not gonna come with you having to work or put in anything, because eventually you're gonna have to put in something, baby.
Well, you know, God says He rains on the just and the
And
unjust. And so, like you said and I said, just because it looks green, do you have the time to dedicate
have
to
the
make
time?
it that green? It's
You know what I'm
very,
saying?
yeah.
And you know, just because it look green, it ain't all green.
Is it astroturf?
It ain't all green, baby. This still got
No.
some tilting that it needs. It still
Fertilizer.
got some watering that
Yeah.
it needs. You know what I'm saying? Even if it look green, you still got to water that.
And you still gotta cut it.
You know, all that. It comes with
gotta cut
something. You know.
Yeah,
So
I've
that's
never been the type of female to
You know.
look at someone else's stuff and be like, oh yeah, I want that.
Oh,
Back.
bless you, baby.
And a lot of times,
That's just,
times,
I'm not that type.
you know, you don't really understand what you're stepping into.
Right.
So it kind of goes either way.
Yeah.
For me personally, the grass was greener. Like when I had stepped into a space that I didn't really know how to handle, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take it just one step at a time. And I was just trying to be the best that I could and do the best that I could. But it was just so draining, and I found myself so lost in life and so demotivated. I did not want to do anything productive. It led to smoking habits, drinking habits, and just a whole destructive lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it did not change until I sat down and I looked at my results, and I was like, okay, this is what I want, and this is what I'm getting, and this is what has to change. So really, I figured out that the grass is greener wherever you water it at.
Right.
Wherever you're at in
Right.
life, wherever you're placed at in that moment, all you have to do is just look at what you
Right.
have,
Water your
look at
own
what you
grass.
want,
What
and
you have.
take the
Right,
steps
what you
to
have.
See, that's
get
the thing.
there.
You
That's
can't.
right. Yeah, you
That,
can't look
that was
at-
my biggest thing. You can't look at what everybody else has.
That's right.
But what you have, take time and work with what you have.
That's right.
Because anything that's worth having, you know what I'm saying, it's worth hard for. It's worth working hard for
yes,
and waiting
and
for.
waiting for.
And
That's
so,
right.
what my thing is, I say a lot of people in life, they want this microwave stuff. They want it quick.
Pop it.
But what they don't realize is, in the process of you letting it work itself out, in the long run, you know what I'm saying, you'll reap everything that you want and more.
Yeah.
When you do it the right way.
Right,
See, I
exactly.
can't look over here, look at John and Jan household and say this what I want, and not realizing what they went through to get it. God can shorten
Right.
mine. You know what I'm saying? My troubles are getting to where I want when I be obedient by Him and let Him work it out for me. You know what I'm saying? On the other hand, our feelings have us caught up in just jump over there like Superman and you know, go get it.
Right.
Just go get it. And don't want no work.
Yeah, the phrase goes all the way back to the 1900s.
It does.
And even, you know, farmers even, you know, you look at farmers, they even use the phrase because even them, their cows and horses in the pasture, you know, they'll stick their heads through the fence.
Yeah.
And, you know, they got the barbed wire fence. And they'll stick their heads through the fence trying to eat grass on the other side.
Right.
When they got, that's not theirs. And they got this whole big old land, all this grass that's
But they're
theirs. They
focused
got
right
all
here
this
on this
freedom that they can have, you know, that's already theirs. But doesn't that remind y'all of like even Adam and Eve, when how God had told them you can eat from all this, you know, the tree and all the trees within the garden except for this one forbidden tree, you know, you cannot eat from. And what did they do? The one tree that they were told not to eat, that's what they ate from. And you know, and that reminds me of how we do oftentimes. We will risk everything to go after the thing that we are forbidden to have in life. And so it kind of goes back to what you said, Bethany. Whatever you take care of, whatever you cultivate, and whatever you water, that's what's greener. That's the thing. And so therefore in life, we have to remember, if you take care of your grass, that grass will be greener. I can remember a personal experience in my life when it came to jobs. Because a lot of times now, I'm not going to pretend like some grass is brown. No, I'm not fixing to go act like I can't see. Because some situations now you can try, but it takes healthy communications now. You do need to talk it out and everything like that. I do think things deserve a conversation, and you try to work on stuff. But after you've done all you can do, then you may need to take extra steps. But I do think you need to have healthy conversations first. But on this one particular job I had an opportunity to do dual positions. And so I was working at 2 different jobs. And what happened is one day I was cleaning out the desk drawer, and I saw the pay stub of the previous manager, and I saw what they were making. And so I was thinking, if I go full-time here, I could really be making the money. And so to me, I was thinking, I'm fixing to just try to go full-time here, leave the other position. Make a long story short, I did that and got over there, and it was
not for you.
Exactly. It came with everything that salary came with. Yes. And I wish I had
the grass.
Exactly. And I wish I had stayed where I was. And needless to say, I was not there long. Ended up was released from that position, because after I actually cleaned up everything, they was like, okay, you're no longer needed. And so there I was, left without a job. And so therefore, yes, sometimes we can make these quick moves and then regret our decisions. And so therefore, we need to evaluate where we are before we start making these quick moves and thinking that, okay, what I see, these temptations and what's exciting to us, oh, that looks good. That's exciting. Let's do this. No. We need to basically work on where we are and appreciate where we are. Sometimes it's just that we don't see. Just like the cows, they're over here with their head stuck through the fence, but look around. Like, you probably have more than what you can actually see. You just can't see it right now because you got your head stuck through the fence.
Well, what you just said totally reminded me of the prodigal son. He wanted his money. Here he was living in a beautiful house. His daddy owned everything. His father, he didn't need for nothing. But what did he go to his father and say?
Yeah, exactly.
I can do better on my own. Grass is greener over yonder. And I believe he had a good time for a little bit. I believe he did.
Definitely.
I did. But then where did he find himself? That's your story reminds me of it. Found him at the bottom of the pig pen where he didn't want to be because he wasn't doing his purpose in life.
Oh yeah.
He was better back at the house. The grass was greener at the house.
That's true.
Yeah.
And there's so many biblical principles that we can pull from. You got Lot and Abraham. Yeah. What did Lot do? He saw that green grass. Yeah. He saw it and he wanted it, and he was like, okay, over there. That's where I'll go.
And Naomi, and what was her husband's name? What was his name?
Ruth.
Naomi's husband. I can't remember his name. Elimelech. Yeah, He left the house of bread because they were going through a rough patch to go on over to Moab, and he lost his whole family because he thought the grass was greener on the other side.
And then Ruth had to return back to her hometown.
And God gave her Boaz, and God turned it around, but at the same time, that grass wasn't greener.
That's so true. I wish we had these wisdom, these pearls of wisdom growing up as children. Like our parents would have taught us these things as we was growing up, and so that we could have these things. And actually, speaking about parents and growing up, what do y'all think about the way people are parenting their children now?
My goodness, it is horrible. I can attend to that.
That's another deep one right there.
But I thank God from where I come from, because that always stuck with me. We didn't have much growing up. Yeah. And what I teach my kids, the main thing now I teach my kids is you have to work for everything that you want now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Parents are now, they handed them everything. Everything to suit their attitude, everything to whatever. They don't know how to go get anything. So everything is limited, limited to them because it's handed.
Yeah.
It's handed. They don't know how to work for it. They don't know how to earn it. And so it becomes nothing to them. And so parents and stuff now, they fall into depression because they can't provide it. You know what I'm saying? They can't keep up with it.
No.
The next trend and all that. But what I teach in my household, my kids has to earn it. Your grades has to be up to par for you to get what you want. I don't give my kids wants just because they want it. No, you have to do something in return for me to reward you with it. And nowadays, kids are losing it. Mm-hmm. They stealing. They killing for it. You know why? Because they so used to taking it from somebody handing it to them.
Yeah.
Just because.
They have a mind
it's
mentality.
Crazy.
It's mine.
And I don't blame kids because they pick up what they know.
That's
and
true.
and it starts in the household. And if you're running your household like that, that's what you're going to get in return. So with my kids, I'm standing 10 toes down on their neck. I don't care how bad it hurt them. Do you hear me? This is life. We have to be real with our kids. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand. This is a real world. Look at the world.
It is.
We got so many of our youth are losing their life because they're taken. Because it's handed to them. They don't know. See, if it was something they owned and they worked hard for, they know how to protect it.
Right.
And how to appreciate it. Nowadays, they don't appreciate it. You know why? Because it's just given.
Yeah. Well,
have to
according to
work
the Pew Research, 44% of parents are parenting differently than what they used to. Like, they feel like they don't need to parent the way they had been parented. Yes. Yeah. And why that is, I don't know. But it's altogether different today than what it used to be.
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Like, whoopings ain't even the same. They can't even get whoopings without us going to jail. I whoop mine.
They still have
I whoop them.
They still have
I whoop 'em.
Definitely.
They still have it.
The 3-year-old, funny story, the 3-year-old that I have, he had his pet. They have a pet where they take, it's a stuffed animal. They take around a weekend, they get to keep him and bring him home. Mm. His name was Coolio the cow. Okay, this weekend he brought Coolio the cow home with him. And so he had to go back and tell the teacher what they done the whole weekend together.
Oh, wow.
So I asked him before he went. I said, when they asked you, what did you and Coolio do for the weekend? What are you going to say? He said, we got a whooping because I stand on discipline. I don't care what they say. I know how not to beat them. Yeah. But I do. If I spoil a child, I'm going to spare the rod. That's just what God said do. If you spoil them, hey, you have to show them how to be obedient. Show them how to act right, And the thing about it is, it's not a bad thing because even if they go their separate ways when they get older, they always going to remember where it was rightfully taught. And it starts at home.
Welcome to Call Out Toyota, your ticket to finding the perfect wheel. Let's dive into why choosing me is your best bet. At Call Out Toyota, I'm all about you. I listen to what you want and find the perfect car that fits your style and your budget. You're not just a customer, you're family. I've been doing this for a while now, and I know these cars inside and out. Whether you're a pro or buying your first car, I've got the knowledge to help you make the right choice. Trust me, I got your back. When you shop with me, you're not on your own. I'm here to help you every step of the way, from answering your questions to getting you the best deal. Your happiness is my top priority. So why wait? Call me at 662-317-8799. Trendy at Call Out Toyota of Tupelo.
So Bethany, I'm just itching because it's obvious because of the wrinkles. You're the oldest. Sorry, girl. You are not the oldest. You're the youngest of the group. So what is your perspective on this? And you have a younger child in home.
Yes, I do. I have a daughter. She's 1. And I don't know, like, I feel like it's very different now in this generation than it was back then. So like a lot of the things that our parents were taught and the way that they had to be brought up and the disciplines that they had, everybody is entitled to a different opinion on how
they are
you do your
That's your God-given right.
and everyone might not follow the principles in the Bible and on how the Bible tells you to discipline your child. That does not make you a bad parent. I just feel like, for me, I try to do the best that I can. Yeah. There's so many ways on which I can improve, and I always try to look back on my parents. Like, I found myself, and no knock to my parents, because they have done so good at like raising us and taking care of us. And I'm not the only sibling, so I have 6 other brothers and sisters, and with my mom and dad, but I also have other siblings on the outside as well, and all of us, are very close. And I always had my mind set on success and like taking care of my family and just giving them everything that we've never had, because we grew up poor. So we had enough, but we never got to have more than enough. We didn't go without. We did not struggle with anything, but they always made a way for us. And as I grew up and I got older, I found myself to be very, very frustrated, and I was like, all this time, why don't we have anything? Why don't we have land inherited? Why don't we have family businesses? Why don't we have this? Why don't we have that? I'm, as far as relationship wise, I have great relationships with both of my parents, but we also have disagreements. And there's a lot of things where I look at them and I'm like, okay, I don't want to repeat this. I don't want to follow in y'all. And as far as like work, like my parents are always telling me like, just go work a 9 to 5 and like go get you a job. And I don't knock that. And I'm a hard worker and I don't mind working, but when they were getting raised up, they had to drop out of school just to be able to provide for themselves and for us. So they don't know anything about chasing dreams. And
they just know to work.
To be in a family and you want to be successful and like you're painting a vision for the family and they don't have that same vision painted, that's so hard. And it's kind of frustrating, like looking back and seeing like, oh my gosh, this is so different. Like, why couldn't I have been taught this? And why didn't I know this? Or why don't I have this? And really all it should do is encourage me to go harder and go figure it out for myself. That way I can give it to them, because they were never able to figure out. As far as like being a mom to my daughter, I just want to do the best that I can, because I've made so many mistakes in my life, and at one point I was just completely lost and so like full of destruction. And I do not want her to take the same footsteps that I took. So I always try to watch myself and like the behaviors that I have around her, like even in my hustle and like the way that I make money or I do anything, like I don't even want her to take after me in behind that, because right now I don't feel like I'm where I need to be as your mom. I feel like I could be doing so much better, but
I call that mom guilt.
Yeah, I have a lot of that. I have a lot of mom guilt.
You still got time.
Parenting was going to be so hard. I think that was the biggest shock. And then I look back on my childhood, the question is then or now. And I see where I'm sitting now, I look back on my childhood, I had an amazing childhood. I was taught core values that money really doesn't matter. I mean, you need money to live, you need money to buy things, but it's not what matters. In today's young people and the mothers and the fathers, it seems like it's money, 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 money. Stuff, 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 stuff. And I'm like, that's not what I remember from my childhood. Now, I remember eating pinto beans and cornbread for days.
Collard greens.
Right. And then it being wintertime and somebody bringing a deer in and going,
chopping deer
deer meat tonight, baby.
Jerky.
And just being just happy that I wore hand-me-downs. I didn't have the new whatever. And then when I had my baby, my mama come to me. And I was raised in a 2-parent household. And my mom was like, now look, I want you to break some generational curses. And to me, that was just profound. That my mama said, hey, please don't make these mistakes I feel like I made. And one of those is, my mother is a very loud-spoken woman. I'm a loud-spoken woman. She raised her voice a lot. A lot of people would call her hollering. She hollering at me. And she did, because she was hollered at. Now, she was an amazing mother, and I don't feel like I was disadvantaged because she hollered at me. I probably needed every screaming I got. But she said, break that generational curse. I don't know if y'all were like this. We got a whipping and questions was asked later. Yeah. Me and my husband was talking about that. He said he got a whipping one time. He didn't even do it. It's just the generation we grew up in. He got a whipping for something. He said, I did not do it. He said, they just yanked us up and started whipping and didn't even say, hey, what's going on? And that's just the way they did. My grandmother's like, come at you with a switch.
Because you know what? Once they get the questioning who did, they're going to be pointing finger who did, so we get all of you.
So
That's how they did it.
And I'm thankful for every discipline I got, but sometimes it would have been nice to say, hey, I didn't do it. You know,
some kids actually aren't good at receiving that kind of communication either, because I feel like a lot of times had someone just sat me down and said, hey, this will happen if you do this. If you do this, this will come from this. People will look at you like this if you do this, instead of saying, oh, you're this and you're that and you can't be this and you can't be that. You know, you have to learn how to say it nice.
And I'm glad I didn't
regardless
have a cell phone.
of whether they was a kid or not.
We didn't either.
Yeah, you're right.
We had paper and pencils and mailboxes.
I'm telling you, I lived through the 80s with the hair and the boof.
Yeah, it's like I said, parenting now.
I agree with you, Bethany. I agree with you.
Over time, it has changed. Like from generation to generation and generation, parenting has changed. And I think each generation, people have raised their children according to their likes, their dislikes, their opinions, and then tradition. Tradition has played a large part in parenting. I think for the most part, though, whatever people have gotten away, though, from the Bible, which the Bible teaches about discipleship in the home, and then the Bible lays out how to raise your children.
It does.
I mean, it clearly defines how to raise your children. And because for me, we didn't have the talks about how to do this and how to do that in our home. Of course, and I wasn't even raised up in the church. And so, but one of the things that I remember, I was not, but one of the things that I do remember is my mom would get up and she would play gospel music every Sunday morning. That stuck with me. And so when I when I was an adult, and then of course that going to the church is one of the things that I wanted and one of the things that I craved. And then when I had my son, I will never forget, of course I wanted to raise him right, but of course I made so many mistakes. And I raised him according to, of course, how she taught me, and then just by what I knew. But I'll never forget being in church one Sunday morning, and the pastor had made a statement, and he was like, a lot of us, we put the fear of us in our children instead of the fear of God. And that's the reason why when they leave our home, they start to make all these mistakes and do all this stuff. And then you're shocked that they are somebody different than what you thought. And that hit home for me, because I was like, oh yeah, like he acts so afraid of me now, but he, will do this stuff behind my back. And that's because I was not teaching him the biblical principles and saying, God don't want you to do this. This is, and pointing it back to the Bible. And we're seeing what we're seeing today from children, because we're not showing them, we're coming away from the biblical principles, and discipleship is not starting in the home. And so therefore we're seeing everything that we're seeing, because children are being raised because of likes, dislikes, traditions, and so forth and so on. And we're just getting so far from the Bible and what the Bible says.
Well, that's why I asked y'all, 2-parent home, 1-parent home. It seems now that there's so many one-parent homes.
Yeah.
And people are trying to co-parent, and if you can do that, then great, you know. But it doesn't seem that that's happening. It's just either falling all on the dad, or all on the mom, or all on a grandparent.
That's right.
And it breaks my heart because, like you said, biblical foundation is family.
Yeah.
Biblical foundation is family and love. And it just, I don't know, it breaks my heart for kids not to have, like Bethany said, like you said, a mother and a father. Like your father worked a lot, but you knew he was there.
No, he didn't work a lot.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I
He was
assumed.
in the home. No, I had a 2-parent household. He was in the home, but he was not, like, he was just there.
Okay.
Yeah, he
I'm
didn't
sorry,
help.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
he did not help my mom.
Involved.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I have women now that tell me I'm a single married woman. I'm, you know.
Yeah, and you have.
Or I'm a man, and the man. I'm a single married man.
Married.
I mean, you know, raised. Yeah. Yeah, but and also those that do go to church and are not living it at home. You just can't have church on
It's a
Sunday
cover-up.
and then go home and live like the world 6 days a week and then go back on church. Well, I take them to church.
Well, I've been there.
I mean, we have seasons in our life. We do.
Been there.
But you have to live it.
Yeah.
But if you want your kids to see that God is real, you have to live God before them.
I'm Chad Fletcher of Superior Artisan Wood in Tupelo, Mississippi. We're urban wood producers. So we sawmill lumber for the public, we kiln dry lumber for the public, we retail lumber to makers and artisans. Then we also create finished art pieces out of our shop. In doing this, so we're set up today on a homeowner's place, and if it weren't for folks like us doing this type of work, then this tree here would probably have found itself in a landfill due to traditional removal and disposal practices. So in doing this, we realized that there's a problem, but the good news is there's a solution. So every year in the United States, there are nearly 4 billion board feet of potential lumber products that are simply discarded annually. A board foot by definition is something that's 1 inch thick, 12 inches wide, and 12 inches long. So our mission is to do our part in what we can to be good stewards of our land and utilize as much of this resource as we can.
And also, like, those in the church, the Sunday school teachers, the pastor, all those kids see that. They see if people are real or fake. They can read through those lines. Coaches at school, teachers at school, extracurricular activity coaches and stuff, they see all that. And grandparents, they learn and pick up stuff from everybody you're around, and you got to make sure that those people are solid.
True, that's so true. And talking about people that they are around, it makes you think, is it still needed? Do y'all think that it still takes a village to raise a child?
I absolutely do.
I believe it does. I do.
Yes, I do. I do, simply because it's happening now. You know what I'm saying? If we as parents allow it. Because, again, some parents, they don't believe in disciplinary, the right way. They don't believe in other people disciplining their kids and different stuff like that. And we lack a lot of that. And if we would get on one accord, the foundation for these kids would be set better. Yes. Learning would be easier. Them listening, first of all, being obedient would be sure enough better.
It would be if everybody's on the
If
same
everybody's
team.
on the same page. Everybody is not out to hurt your kids. Now, we do have people that will hurt your kids.
Yes, you do.
But when you have family members that are standing on top of what's right,
On the Bible.
and friends of the family that's been around since you was a child, that's standing on a good foundation with raising your kids, what problem do we have? What people fail to realize, it does take a village. Because if you see my child outside doing something they ain't got no business doing, it's only right for you to stop them.
Yeah.
It's only right for you to tell them that's not right.
Yeah.
Not for the parent to say, you don't say nothing to my child. I hate that. You know, I hate that because now you're giving them an opportunity to do what they want to do, which is wrong. Now you causing them to have failure in life because you ain't got the other people helping you. They tried to protect you. They tried to help protect your child.
Oh, yeah.
But you're so stubborn and set in your ways. So many people mess their kids up because they don't have multiple people helping them set a good foundation for their kids.
Oh yeah, I got PTSD from trying to be a village. True story. I can remember now.
Did you say PD?
PTSD. Like I'm like old school. Like when it comes to raising a child, I'm like old school because I was raised where, true enough, like if I'm whoever child I'm around or whatever, like we help raise that child. And
that's mine.
if your children are with me, they cut up. I don't wait until we get back to the house and I tell you about it. No. Like, I get them right then. And vice versa. If my child is with you, you don't wait till, you know, you get back to me because then I got to try to come up with a mad to try to get them. No. Go ahead and get them. And then if you want to tell me about it, then you tell me about it. But I will never forget. This is where it ended for me. I will never forget we was having a district thing at our church. Yeah. And during that particular time, it was these young girls who got into it at our church. They got into a fight at our church. And we were real close family friends with this other family members. And their daughter was there at the church, and she was one of the individuals who got into the fight. When she got into the fight, she started like back talking the youth minister and everything like that. And so I was like, you know what? Come here. I'm going to get you. Yeah. Took her in the classroom, whooped her right there on the spot. She got upset, went home, told her parents. Now for me, I didn't think it was a problem. Next thing I know, later that afternoon, her father showed up at the church, upset.
Wow.
Furious at me. He could not believe I whooped her. We talked it out, and he was like so mad at me. And I told him, I was like, I don't see what the issue, because I would have thought if my child was with you, you would have done the same thing. Right. So I don't see what the problem is. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. And later on, of course, you know, he came back and then he was like, okay, I see, you know what the problem is. But I know, you know, I would have done the same thing and vice versa. So, but that incident right there ended it for me. And I was like, okay, times have changed. People do not see things the way they used to, because people do not want you putting your hands on their children. Yeah. They do not.
They really don't want you protecting them.
Exactly.
They don't, and it's crazy. Yeah. But then if you're there and a situation comes to where you can save their life and you don't do it because of their reaction out of something like that, then you to blame. Why you didn't help him? Why you didn't stop him? Well, you got me confused.
Do I
help him or do I not? Do you want me to be involved or do you not want me to be involved? I can't read your mind, man, woman.
Exactly.
So let us come together in unity. That's what God wants. That's the only way things work, when we become one and stop all this animosity and, you know what I'm saying, this disagreement. When kids are in a wrong, we need to come together as parents and make them own up to their mistakes, because if we don't, they're going to fail in life. They're going to be dead, jail, wherever.
Exactly.
Not nothing, you know, in order. And that goes back to, you know what I'm saying, even goes back to the other topic where it says parenting now and then. That's how the parenting now and then is off course, because we don't have scripture. We don't. Yes, we don't at all. It is so out of whack. I can remember when our great-great-grandparents and stuff made us do, we come up with games we ain't know of, because we was together in unity, and parents was able to discipline us. Parents was able to tell us to close that door, don't come back in here, drink from the water hose, you know, because we had everybody stepping up. It wasn't just one of us. Like, we had to stay with my aunt for a while. Guess what? When my mom left, my aunt was my mother.
Yes.
You know, and she was able to tell us, you know, what's right, what's wrong, what not to do. And you think my mama came behind her? No, because they was gonna fuss at her.
Exactly.
You know, so
What you
it takes a
said
village.
that people don't want to get on to people's kids these days. I experienced this Sunday. We've had a conference this week at church. We've been at church almost every day this week, which is okay, great. My child doing what children do when they hit the fellowship hall. And our pastor and everybody's don't run because they'll catch one of them chairs, trip over, and just hurt themselves. Well, I was sitting there at the bar helping get food together and not paying attention to my child because mama was busy, as moms do. They get busy. You can't watch everything at all times.
Right.
A lady two places down from me, I hear her, "Hey," and it was two little girls. One of mine, "Stop running." She corrected them. Right. My kid instantly froze. The little girl, she just still running. The lady had to raise her voice again. The little girl, she stopped. Well, that lady come to me and she goes, "I'm so sorry that I did that. I did it before I thought." I said, "Oh no, honey, no. I didn't see her. She knows better. She's done been told multiple times, do not be running." And
if it takes you,
right,
it's okay.
She said, "Well, I think I got a little loud." I said, "No, you did what you needed to do because you knew they are not supposed to be doing it." I said, "You don't ever have to come apologize to me for getting on to my kid for doing something."
That's right.
The preacher's done said, the preacher wife's done said, the deacon's done said, whomever in the church, and that goes if she's at Walmart running Walmart, stop her. Hope not, but you know what I'm saying? It didn't offend me. We get so offended now at every little thing. Every little thing.
Oh, yeah.
And she just, she apologized twice, and I just finally said, "Stop. I'm okay."
Yeah.
You
Thank you.
You didn't hurt me.
Thank you.
I didn't even think it. All I did was look up, yep, mine's running. Okay, she got her. That's all I thought. Seriously, that's all I thought. And for me, I need my village.
Right.
I need my village. Yes. I need my sister. I need my mama. I need the Sunday school teachers because I can't do everything.
That's right.
I can't do and be everywhere.
That's right.
And and we're at the age of 7, so it's a little bit easier for me to control. There's not too many places she goes that I'm not going to be with her. Right. But as we get older, I think it's starting at 7 to teach her, okay, Sister Angie, I'm leaving her here. You here. If Sister Angie tells you to stop, you better stop. She knows that. She knows whomever she's with, they boss.
That's it.
They boss. And you listen to them. But it's almost like a mentality amongst parents today. She's not your mama, you ain't gonna listen to her.
Yes,
she's not your mama, you ain't. And I don't understand that mentality because if I'm going to leave my kid with Bethany, I trust Bethany.
Right. That's it.
I'm not going to leave my kid with anybody I don't trust.
That's it.
And I don't, because I have a spirit. God lives inside of me. And I believe He gives us a spirit of discernment.
Yes, we got intuition.
Right.
And that's just like life. You have times where things get tough. You know what I'm saying? As you grow and trials come and, you want to quit, you want to give up. And, he used to always come home and talk about, Mama, the coach did. I said, don't tell me about no coach. Because at that moment, he's your parent.
That's right.
If you feel some type of way about coach, go to coach and talk to him. Because I'm not coach. Don't tell me about coach. It's okay if they're harming you or something. That's a different ball game. You know what I'm saying? But if they're disciplining you, it's going to hurt. It hurts. Disciplinary come with pain. It does. It comes with pain. But we have to learn how to grow through those pains. We have to learn how to overcome them. And in the end, once we master overcoming those, we'll see that it was necessary for us to go through it. Yeah. Because it actually builds us. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It builds us. So everybody that's in your life, everybody that's a part of your life, helping you grow, helping you get through something, helping you overcome something, it's necessary that those people are in your life. They're placed for a reason. And it's necessary. I mean, we need the village. We need it.
Well, do you know where that term it takes a village. Do y'all know where that came from?
Enlighten us.
Okay, it comes from two different places, Native Americans, because what did they live in? They lived in villages. And it also comes from tribes in Africa. It takes a village.
And they came together.
Right, they came together.
They fed together, slept together, clothed together, everything together.
And and if you go back and look at, and it reminds me of the Proverb 31 woman. You know how she sewed and then she went to the market. She had kids. Who was keeping the kids? The mama, the grandparents.
They was all together.
Right, she had a village. The Proverb 31 woman had a village. She trusted her village. Her village stood on the same ground she stood on. Just like these villages in Africa and the Native Americans, they kept the kids safe. They were there for protection. Because as a mama, you got to feed them, you got to clothe them, you got to do all the things. So who's going to help you?
Through passion and creativity, we believe the simplest things can become extraordinary. Like our made-from-scratch bubble waffle, paired with our #1 award-winning premium ice cream. The taste is beyond amazing, the customer service is outstanding, and the experience is wonderful. So come taste the excitement that everyone experienced when they visit Pumpkin Calls. And on July 18th, you'll be able to have this same experience in Amory, as we will be opening our second location at 320 North Main Street, in the heart of Amory, Mississippi.
I feel a little differently than y'all. For one, when it comes now, I have a very, very large village. Let me not lie, because my mom, my dad, my sisters and brothers, all of them help out with my child, and they do, such a great job at playing the roles of like aunt, auntie, uncle, all of that. I said aunt, auntie, uncle, all of that. But as far as when it comes to discipline, outsiders, and I don't even play like when it comes to Ari's dad's side of the family, which that's my daughter's name. I don't even play when it comes to that side. Like, if I don't trust you enough around my daughter, or I don't feel like, not saying that, anyone would ever put her in harm's way, but I don't really know how you discipline your children, or like what you can handle or what you can't.
Right.
The way I've raised my daughter, she's spoiled. So she would like to have her way all the time, and that's fine. Me personally, there's nothing wrong with that, because it doesn't get out of hand. She's only one. So if she sees something and she wants it, she can have it. Things that she'll like throw a tantrum for or something, and I don't know how other people discipline their kids, but for me, I just let her cry it out, and eventually she'll stop. It doesn't take long, but I don't know how other people handle crying, like their kids crying. But a lot of parents, like even the way that I was raised up, my mama always gave me something to cry about every single time. So I don't agree with that. Like, I don't agree with whooping them if their feelings actually are hurt, and like other family members, they think that the way that they did it is the correct way. That's not always true.
Right. I can agree with that to a certain point, because I don't feel like it's my responsibility, no matter who is in my village, your child, my child, your child, nobody. I don't feel like I have a responsibility to spank or put my hands on that kid. Now, but when it comes to they're fixing to hurt themselves, or they're being rude, and you are in my circle, in my village, I feel like, you ain't gonna talk to so and so that way, and we're gonna go talk to your parent. I think you always should go back to the parent. Like, you should always say, hey, this little situation happened today with little T-Tot, whatever, Ray, whatever. So I get where you're coming from. Because
because I don't want
not just anybody.
Don't put your hands on my kid. For one, like I don't even do it myself half of the time. That may change as she gets older. If she gets undisciplined and unlearned. I don't even feel like kids be bad. I feel like they just be unlearned. I don't really think that because kids have an amazing capacity to know anything that you teach them.
True, I
The
agree with
only
that.
limit that you have as an adult or as a kid is the one that you place on yourself. So if you teach a kid a certain thing and you teach them how to follow it, eventually, you know, they'll get in line with it. Everything works out for a reason. But as far as like a village and me needing everyone to comment on like my parenting style, I don't want it, because then that deflects me and how I feel, and I would be, you know, questioning myself when I feel like I already have the right thing now.
But I don't think that's really what a village is all about.
Yeah.
I think a village is more to help me.
Yeah.
Help me.
Yeah.
Not be there to take over.
Yeah.
And
But
to help
some
me.
people don't actually know the difference in that. Like some people,
You gotta know your boundaries.
some people don't know boundaries. Some people feel like just because they have that title of like grandmother, grandfather, uncle, or anything, you know, that they can just step in and take over. That's not always the case. I appreciate the effort of it and you wanting to be there, but at the end of the day, that is not your place as for my child. That's not your place to step in and say, oh, I'm going to do this because your mama ain't doing it. No.
No,
If
that's
anything, you
overstepping.
just come to me and you just tell me, hey, I peeped this, or I saw this, and I think that it would be better if you did this. Come to me. Don't go to the child and say, hey, do this, because that's not.
No, I think that's overstepping boundaries.
Yeah.
That's a line.
This is the big thing. We have to pick our village.
Yeah.
We do nowadays.
You do have to pick your village.
Our villages have to be picked, even if it's family members. Certain family members can't be in my village.
That's
right.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? I don't care who you is. You can be my sister. You can be my brother. If your household ain't disciplined right, how you gonna come into my household and tell me how to discipline mine right? I don't care who you is.
That's right.
I agree with
You
that.
have no say. If you allow your kids to be rude and overtalk your siblings, anybody adult wise, you can't come in my household telling my kids how to do right by you. No, you allow this in your household. How can you come teach my household something that you're allowed? You going against everything.
Yeah.
You can't be in my village if you ain't here to help build my village and lead my village in the right direction.
Well, I think anybody, like in Trish,
you can't.
Anybody in our villages know how we raise our children.
Right.
That's true, and each person will understand. Okay, so for instance, like we're talking about villages and stuff. If I will not allow somebody to discipline my child, then I will have to understand then that child has to stay with me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so we cannot expect somebody to take upon the responsibility of having our child, whether it be a sleepover or going with them, and that sort of thing. If we're gonna limit them to certain aspects, we shouldn't do that. So it's okay if you're gonna say, don't discipline my child, don't do this, don't do that. That's fine if that's how you choose to parent or whatever. So that's on you or whatnot. But then don't be trying to send them, with them. You gotta keep Ray with you,
with y'all on that.
and you gotta know. You gotta find somebody else to be your village that's okay. That's right. With that type of responsibility. Exactly.
That's
and
like anybody I
you
leave my
choose to
child
do that.
with.
Yeah.
Right. Like, well, Miss Bethany, I'm leaving you with Miss Bethany. If Miss Bethany tells me you were disobedient, me and you gonna have a talk when we get back. Now, Miss Bethany has permission to get you in line, but when we get back, we're gonna evaluate the situation and we gonna have a talk.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, you just can't let anybody put, and you don't. Things are so, like, going back to then and now, things are so different.
It's definitely
Things are so, yeah.
And that's why this day and time it's important. Just keep your own kids. Raise
just
them
watch your
to
own
the
kids,
best of your ability.
Well, the Bible gives us that commandment.
He
He gave us the commandment to raise our kids, to teach our kids. He lends them to us. They are his, he lends them to us. They are our responsibility. So we get to pick our village, and it's up to us and to make sure the people in the village is going to keep them safe and have their best interests.
Just as well as we are. You know what I'm saying? They got to be up to that standard the same way we raise.
Right.
That's right.
You got to have that mentality. Ain't no harm gonna come their way, but if I need to discipline them, they gonna get disciplined. We can't put limits on our village.
Right, yeah, because it takes a community.
It
takes a village for success in anything. Even as adults, you can't do anything by yourself. So when you start limiting, even when it comes to children, you're going to start trying to do it as an adult, and you cannot be successful in life when you start to put limits on things.
That's
you cannot be a successful business owner trying to be a one-man person. You're going to need multiple people to help you be successful. So when you start to try to limit things, even like when it at a child, say I'm not going to have people being a part of my village because I don't want them to discipline, I don't want them to do this, I don't want them to do that. You'll start to see yourself try to do that as an adult. You'll try to be a one-man person, and you're going to fail at life. It just does not work trying to be an individual person. In order to be successful, you need a community. You need a village.
And I never want my child to have the mentality, you can't tell me what to do.
You ain't my mama.
You ain't my mama. You can't tell me what to do.
I was that child. I would not like now I always had manners, and still to this day I get complimented on the manners. You know, it was always yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir. But when adults used to approach me and they would, you know, I would catch the sass in their voice, they would catch the sass in mine. And, you know, I had the kind of mom where mom would listen to me. And if I told her that an adult offended me or did something to me,
you gotta listen to your kids.
We were going back to check back down on that. And that's just, and if I got out of line with an adult and I wound up letting some words slip out of my mouth that shouldn't have, mom would correct me, but mom would wait until she got back home to correct me. She wouldn't just sit up there and do it right there in front of the adult because you disrespected me. So she gave me that courtesy to be able to stand up and speak up for myself, and to know, you know, just because you're an adult, so a lot of adults take advantage of that. Just because you're an adult, you think that you have authority over somebody, but you still have to respect them. Even if they're a child and they're underage, you still have to talk to people nice. You still have to respect them. You cannot, I think that's a lot of problem. Like one thing, that's what I was saying earlier. Had some people, instead of saying it in a vulgar way or like saying it in a bad way, had they just sat me down and like said it, talked to me nicely and just said it like, hey, if you do this, this will happen. Communication is so important, and the way that you deliver it is even more important. As adults, some people don't know how. Some people, like I've had a woman approach me, you know, just little girl this, little girl that. You can't little girl me just because I'm young. You can't do that. That's disrespectful.
And we forget kids are little adults.
They really are.
They're humans.
They really are.
They're little, and we teach them how to grow and how to be adults.
Yeah.
I agree.
They stick on to everything though.
They catch
They're
it.
little magnets.
More than you want them to get sometimes.
That's so true. Well, that ends this session for today. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you've been encouraged by it. But before we wrap this session up, we did have a question to come in from Lorenzo, and he wanted to ask us for today, what do we think about polygamy in America?
I'm not sharing.
You know what I have to say to that? Tell me you're a cheater without telling me you're a cheater.
I'm not sharing.
Yes.
If you want three, you got three of me. Angie.
That's right.
And Queen A. Which one you want today? I'm not sharing.
No.
I don't agree to it, because if the table turns and I wanted more than one man, how would you take it?
Right, exactly.
I can't do it. Lorenzo,
No.
my friend. No. No. I just
It ain't gonna work. Women and women don't get along,
work.
especially over one piece of meat.
Yeah.
No.
Well, if I feel like you
Ain't
doing
finna work.
something better to her than you doing to me,
That's a problem.
I'm gonna want to whoop both
Well,
of
you
y'all.
know, there's a story
yeah.
in the Bible about that.
Yeah.
Hagar and Sarah.
Well, we ain't sharing.
No, you know, look what
We're
that
not
turned. Look how that turned out. Look, David and Bathsheba. Look how that
It's a
turned
mess.
out. More than one woman is not good for a nation.
Now, if you're okay, but I've actually, y'all know that actually is getting normalized now.
It is.
It is. Like, I've seen a couple of relationships.
Normalizing
No
that
disrespect to it. No disrespect to it. But I just don't, that's not the principle that I
not
want to
me.
follow. That's not, I do follow some traditions. That's not a tradition that I want to start or include into anything. I don't follow that principle. And for men, it's different, because I'm, you know, as a woman, I just don't see myself being attracted to another woman. But for men, if that's something that you're questioning or you want to do, you just need to find the kind of person that's going to be as open with you as you are, you know, with us about it. Like the same way that you wanted our opinion on it, the partners that you choose, you should want their opinion on it as well. Just make sure that you ask them first, and make sure, because you don't ever want to force anybody to try to come on to something that you're not okay with. Everyone didn't grow up, you know, thinking like that or like wanting that. So if you do, that's a big boundary.
No,
that,
not happening. I just, you know me, I'm a biblical person over here. You know, I'm a faith-based person, saved by the grace of God. It's never turned out okay in the Bible. I mean, they've tried it for generations and generations and generations, and every story you go back to, it has, King Solomon, it was his own demise. The women were his own demise.
Well,
so I mean, you know, so no, but because biblically based, I just don't know.
Well, I'm only one woman. Yeah. And I want one man. No.
That only wants
one woman. That's right. If I can't take care of you, that one woman can't take care of you, then baby, you got a problem.
Yeah, you don't need me.
Lord have mercy.
That's right.
I want to know what you think, Trish.
Oh, I'm totally with you. Biblically, no, it cannot happen. Absolutely not. I'm not going to share. No.
Well, you know, it was Sarah's idea with Hagar and Sarah. It was Sarah's idea for Abraham to take Hagar as his wife.
Wow, pray for Sarah.
I know. And then it happened, and guess what? She's like,
And they ain't got that idea.
No, nope.
One man.
Well, that's
most
no
men
extra.
cannot take care of one household.
Yeah, exactly. Right. How you going to take care of two? And especially where this economy is. I mean,
Exactly.
what kind of job you got?
I'm sorry, Lorenzo.
And then they can't equally split their time and all of that. If you can explain how you're going to give equal treatment across the board, then let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
But you can't do it. You'll either love one and hate the other.
That's right.
And so, it's a no.
So, Lorenzo?
No.
don't fit right with us.
It's not it, brother.
Hey, thank you for your question, though.
Thank you.
So thank you, Lorenzo, for your question, and I hope you have heard everything that the ladies have said. And so actually that ends our segment for today. And overall, I hope you all have been enlightened by the things that we have discussed today. I hope you don't go over trying to think that the grass is greener on the other side. I hope you have learned something from parenting. And I just hope you all continue to tune in to each episode. Thank you.